the fall of Gaddafi, paved the way for a kind of beehive of activity taking place within the Sahel. So, what is your take on the present security lapses within the region?
Our analysis as far as the Sahel case is concerned will be premised on the four wheels of our vehicle of analysis today, which will be causes, effects, sequence of events, and the consequences. Okay, now look at the sequence of events. People have to understand that we cannot detach the happenings in West Africa, in the Sahel region. We can't dissociate it from the history of these things. And part of that history, a very important part of that history, is when President Ronald Reagan stood up and said, President Gorbachev, tear down this wall in Berlin, in Germany, in 1989. And then the fall of the Berlin Wall, what did it bring? The beginning of the process of the disintegration of the great Union Soviet Socialist Republic, USSR. Some people may say, what is the link here? Let them just give me the chance and listen. Okay, now after that, 1992, we witnessed the final crumbling of the USSR through President Gorbachev. Some people still in Russia are not kind with him about that. They don't like it. In fact, I am one of those people who visited Moscow soon after the fall of the USSR. The first day that they opened a McDonald's in Moscow, I was there. And I saw how people were rushing, like the Western dream and all this stuff. I saw that. Okay? So from that time, you have Boris Yeltsin and other people. Now, the disintegration of USSR brought us the Balkan states. Okay, now it was a tsunami of transnational and cross-border flow of illicit arms. Some are light, some are heavy. And this is how it spilled over now to West Africa. You know, that was the time of the rise of people like Victor Bout and others. So these arms, their first easiest target was West Africa, isn't it?
Yes.
You talked about Libya. I'm bringing you the bigger picture. Okay? Now, when these arms started flowing into, but the Libya effect of it started, but that was a minute one compared to what the Balkan states brought for us. Gun runners. You remember the gun runners, the Millennium Gun Runner, the reports from the UN when people were cited, the late Baba Job and all these people. So that's where it was interconnected. But they found a fertile ground for those things. Before that, people were in Libya, the Green Book, the Mataba training camp. Okay? You remember when the Green Book's literature was merged with the preachings of Moja, Movement of Justice in Africa. That was a fertile ground. But now, when the Balkan states were disintegrated, these arms started to come into West Africa. Now they were selling it. It became worse though when the NATO alliance also was set a criteria for these countries to be qualified members. Because if you want to be a qualified member of the NATO alliance, there is a set of arms that you should have. So these ones that we are being shipped to West Africa are called the depressed arms because they don't need that. And there is one gun. It's only one gun. That gun, if it was to be snuffed out of West Africa, most of the atrocities will stop. And that gun is called the AK-47, Andrews Kalashnikov. Andrews Kalashnikov made that gun in 1947, and people heard him. I think he's no more. He said if there is anything he regrets, is having produced that gun. Because this is one of the most weather-resistant gun, hardship-resistant gun. If you bury it under the ground for months, Ibrahima, you unbury it. If it was loaded, if you cock it, it will answer. No problem. It is a very, very weather-resistant gun, hardship-resistant. So this gun itself, a lot of it was shipped into West Africa. Now from the Mataba camp, the gun runners, after the fall of the Balkan states, we had them spreading all over the place. So you will see that the Libya revolution started, but the rebels who were coming from Libya, most of the time when they were attacking, they did not have enough arms. What they were using was guerrilla tactics. The test case of the Mataba, graduates. Do you know which country? The test case was 1981 Gambia.
Kuko
That was
Sambasanga.
the test. Yeah, that was a test case because there was no other country attacked. So when they tested in 1981, they did not withdraw. Okay, they were flushed out of the Gambia, but not thanks to people are saying the Senegalese army and all that stuff. No, but it's this thanks to the strategic location of the Gambia also. It's not easy. Had there been not Khartoum, had there been no the ferry crossing, Gambia, if you know warfare, attacks, drawing battle lines and all that. I don't want to enter into that. I mean, the Gambia, if they have a very conscious security apparatus per se compared to other countries, is one of the most difficult countries to capture also because of the geography of the Gambia. But there is what they call the military map, and there's what they call the physical geography map that you and I read at Armitage High School. But the military map is not shared to everybody. Not everybody has that map.
That's
No, 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 no. Yeah.
That's classified.
There are people in the army, they don't even have this. Not many, if some people may run around bragging, but not many people know, in fact, how to interpret a military map itself. Even if you have it before you, they would not know. So that is part of why I'm just summarizing it. Now, when you take it from there, Ibrahim, what I call the spillover effect. Now you remember when they came, the Moja thing, they laid the fertile ground was already there. The Balkan arms now joined the fertile ground of the preachers of the Green Book, Moja, and all this stuff. But what is more dangerous now, at that time, Moja and the Mataba graduates, they believed in some kind of revolutionary ideology. But now, what have they produced? They have produced something very bad. Because, in the West, they say terrorist sleeper cells. Okay? But I have carved one thing. I don't think anybody has ever said it, not to show off, but that is what I call the mercenary sleeper cell. And that's why West Africa is very dangerous. The terrorists have this ideology, which is covering themselves with Islam, which is not. And then the mercenaries, some of them have an ideology, they say they are revolutionaries, but they are not revolutionary. A mercenary is a war prostitute. You pay me, I fight for you. Mercenaries can start fighting for me today. If you and I have factions, you call them and give them more money, they will shoot allegiance to you because of the money. That's the way mercenaries operate. So in West Africa, we have those. We have three lanes. Those who believe in this revolutionary literature, we have the jihadists, and we have the mercenaries. Most of them can regroup. And when they regroup, that's why I call them the forces of chaos. Because when they regroup, we don't care whatever happens, we want to spread fear, atrocities, and money and do it. Okay? Then that's it. Our porous borders, you can imagine how they are going back and forth. You mentioned something important, which is Libya. But before Libya, there was the tri-border area. Niger, Chad, Mali. That tri-border area, in fact, is where the mercenaries who entered Libya and destroyed Libya came from. Most of the people who didn't know, they were not in Libya. They were fermented and groomed from the tri-border area, and other people that ran out of Iraq at that time, okay, crossed the borders, met again, then the Al-Qaeda, Maghreb, and everything. You remember Muammar Gaddafi, there is one of his speeches, he said, his voice is hoarse. You see him say, Raida. And people are saying, what is he saying? He was talking about is Al-Qaeda who is here in Libya. These forces in the tri-border area in West Africa, Niger, Chad, and all that, northern Nigeria, plus those people who came from, regrouped again in Libya. Then when the war, the spillover of Libya is even more serious than that one of Sudan. They left Libya, two things or three things. Some of them were selling arms or reselling the arms. They didn't want to continue fighting. Some of them were caught selling human parts. War economy is very dirty. Because we all remember in Rwanda, when people were caught by Western intelligence selling pelvic bones the bone of the hip, the human hip. All this is part of war. Some people collected a lot of those and they had bias in other countries in the world. This is all part of how dirty war can be. So that part of it, we will come to Bamako if you want, because I want us to separate Bamako again because it is part of what we are discussing now, but we bring it back again. You remember when the Operation Berkan, the French, in the Kidal area?
Yeah.
The French, when they came.
Yeah.
But before the French came, these forces of chaos were already there from the tri-border area. So you can see the tri-border area is a processing plant of marauding fighters. Okay? They went to Libya. Other people came from Iraq, I'm sorry. Other people might have come from Syria. And then that's it. These are the same, like I said, mercenary sleeper cells merge with terrorist sleeper cells, equal to forces of chaos. If Libya, with all its power, cannot resist them, Iraq cannot resist them, Afghanistan cannot resist them, I wonder how a single Sahelian country can resist these people. Some of us, like some people will call themselves security experts, whatever. I'm an experienced person. Maybe I don't even want to be an expert because expertise is very easy to achieve. But some of them will want to make analysis through wishes and convenience. Mm-hmm. When you are analyzing, even the thing that you don't want to hear, listen to it. Because the facts are there. Nobody can stop them because of the way they move. Mm-hmm. And now we have a fertile ground in West Africa because most of our countries, the porous borders are there, internal political cleavages. And these people, they run after internal political cleavages. They run after natural resources. They also run after where there is tribalism and ethnocentricity and religious tension. They have experts who study the terrain for them and give them a feedback as to how to penetrate a country.
Now, with this brilliant analysis that you have given, one might be tempted to say that, well, that is Mali, well, that is Niger, that is Burkina, Gambia is Gambia, Senegal is Senegal. What is the stake there? What are the fears there?
Question. You see, I like the premises you have taken because in another way it's a leading question where you are exposing your own concerns to a question, and that's a very intelligent way to do it. Now look, we used to sit here and see Delta Force, Chuck Norris. We used to watch the movies in Baka when I was in the Gendarmerie and we loved it.
And Rambo.
Rambo, yeah. But haven't we seen Rambo styles in Sierra Leone when we used to have some Bokari called General Mosquito?
Yes.
Haven't we seen General Butt Naked in Liberia? Mm. We have seen those people, right?
Yes.
That was not a Hollywood movie from script writers. That was real life atrocities. So if it thinks you are in the spillover effect of the wars around the world, particularly when it is within the same zone where you are, then you must be the most naive country and the most reckless government. Because these people do not move conventionally. If conventional warfare, they would have been stopped by Nigeria during the time of Baba Buhari. May Allah have mercy on him. But they don't move conventionally. That's why there is a specialized training on counter-terrorism, combating terrorism, okay, door-to-door war, okay, you understand, and all that stuff. Urban warfare. This is why there are different units assigned and trained all these things because they are complex. One of the most complex ways of fight is urban warfare, where you go to people that are not conventional, people who can ride on a horse, on a donkey, meet you, drink tea with you, while in the mud hut there is somebody lying down there with a general purpose machine gun. Or somebody is somewhere within the cows working as a shepherd when actually he has an anti-aircraft or rocket launcher. It's not easy to fight people like that. That's what I say to most of our soldiers, that they can talk about we are doing training, we are doing this, we are doing that, but the psychology of these hardened fighters, It's completely different. These people, Ibrahim, they have, you see this water bottle here? You see this Evian?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them will use this single small bottle of Evian with a half loaf of bread for 3 days. Do you think most of military personnel will be able to enjoy that?
Well, they are battle
People
hardened.
can, theoretically, somebody can say that I am a fighter, I am a trained fighter, and all that stuff. But when you are in the battlefield, it's another thing. There is what they call la baptême de guerre in French. They said it's the christening ceremony of war. When you learn how to fight, you are already set. Gambia will see you. Go to Makati Square or the July 22nd Square. You march. Oh, this is our contingent. They are going to Liberia. They are this, they are this. But when you are on the ground, okay, you stand there. A stinger passes you. You see the stinger will make one jeep fly up to 50 meters up, down. All people, when you they are pieces, they are torn to pieces. You will only see the pieces of their meat. That's fofula all of you. They were the kerogla dog dinner. They are fofula nyakame jabar. But just to run around and talk, war is not good. It's very dirty. It's very dangerous. Anybody who plays with it, you don't know it. So let me finish. Prevention is better than cure. Anybody who thinks that Mali, I will come to that when you finish what you.
Yes, I was just concerned about the fact that the Sahel states, led by military, strongmen, in the past in Niger, Burkina, and as well in Mali. But there is still insurgents here and there, back and forth, and also the issue of colonial, imperial, control or dominance. So the forces of chaos are prevailing in the Sahel against also colonialism that, all these French colonialists who occupied, these Sahel states have been kicked out. Yet the military strongmen are unable to stop the insurgents. So what is wrong? The military prevented or stopped the civilian who might be very in their inability to control problems or the security challenges, but the military is yet also to cause these things. So where's the justification here? When is the war going to end?
That's a good question because your question is an open-ended one. It's not a dead-end question. So I think when I will compliment it is how will we end the war? And that's a very good question you're asking because that's what even war experts would ask. When, how? Because you have to ask it. So now the thing is, I'll go to the Marco. Many people like to add it to the because you are almost your question is complementing the first one and helping me to answer that one. Now people will sit in the Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, or anywhere and say, "Oh, that's Mali." But Mali also was saying that is Libya. Libya also was saying that is Afghanistan. You see? It goes that way. Keep on it's only when the war began in West Africa, Sierra Leone was saying it's just Liberia. But they fought up to a point during Lassana contest time, the Liberian rebels entered into Guinea-Conakry. So you see the ripple effect or the spillover effect, how it can move fast. War is just like fire. It when that's what in the village, you put off the other village neighbor. Now look at the scenario around Bamako. You see what they are doing? They cut supply lines. Okay, isn't it?
Yes.
They cut the supply lines. This is one of the top-notch strategic ways of fighting a war. It's one of the top ways cutting supply lines, destroying, water. What would I call it? Water tanks in the village. Those are commando-style wars. Because what they are doing is this: it's a mixture of modern warfare and the old warfare tactics which were fought by people like Mori Ture, which they history. That's what we are doing right now. Because if you cut off the supply lines, Do you know what this is? This is what they call war economy. Now it's a military war combined with propaganda and combined with economic warfare. Because the trucks that are coming in, some of them are even coming from Gambia, I believe. Because some trucks come from Gambia if they because Mali is a landlocked country. If he from Senegal, others maybe from Guinea, other trucks from Gambia. So you will see what they are doing now is not only affecting Goita, it is also affecting the countries where the transshipment comes from. Because it's not free of charge. When Senegalese trucks go there, it's money for Senegal, isn't it?
Yes.
Re-export trade and all that. It is money for Senegal. When the fuel cargo comes to the Senegalese seaport, to the Gambian seaport, then the Mali. You remember there was a time Mamadou Toumani Touré came to the Gambia.
Mm-hmm.
And he went with President Jammeh to visit the Kuntaur and the Kaur Wharf.
Mm-hmm.
There is a strategic approach. Gambia have capitalized on that. Because what would it have been done? What would it have been? The ship or the cars would go to unload in Malian trucks. They just pass through Kungel. It's not far away. Then they go into Mali. These are the trucks, example, that the Janim, the Al Qaeda, the jihadists, these are for real fighters. These are not amateur fighters.
Mm-hmm.
These are internationally battle hardened fighters who have political cleavages, or three things I would say, just for the immediate: rampant corruption, and just concentrating on trying to win the votes to a point where the security is at the expense of partisan politics. We should be very careful because these people are watching. They are looking at what is porous. They are looking at an opportunity where they can just go through. So let us forget about the concentration of too much of partisan politics to a point where people will say that everything is cool and dandy. No, it's not cool and dandy. There is a serious security threat in West Africa, and everybody has to take it very seriously.